Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and in this video I'm going to give you an overall review of my European cruise that you've seen all the videos from lately. And first let me tell you that as in all cruises I've done where I've got to fly to the disembarkment port, the most dreadful part of going on a cruise is the air flight. Especially when it's from the United States to Europe. And I've done that 3 times now, and it's always dreadful. Mainly because I cannot sleep on an airplane. I have tried. I get so tired, but I just cannot sleep. Best thing I can do is just sit there with my eyes closed and hope that counts for some rest. And when I get to my destination, I can't just go to bed. I've got things to do that day. So I just have to ignore the fact that I'm so tired, haven't gotten any sleep last night. I got things to do and I got to do them. And in this case, my plane took off late, and when I got to my destination, one of my bags didn't show up, and it took about 45 minutes for him to find it and get it to me. So that wasted some time. And then I spent more time waiting for the transfer from the airport to the ship. And the big problem there is that I had prepaid for a tour of a huge flower garden where they have a lot of tulips and other special flowers from Amsterdam, which is where this was. And as I got onto the ship, first thing I said was, has the bus left for the flower garden tour? And they said, yeah, it left 10 minutes ago, and they're not coming back. So that was a big disappointment to start off with. Now let me tell you a few things about the ship itself. Number one, every electric outlet was 240 volt. There were no 120 volt outlets. And I did a video specifically about how to deal with those European type outlets when you're from America. I had a fairly small room with a very small shower. In fact, to wash parts of my body, I had to open the shower door just to get to it. And I was on the bottom floor where it's actually partially below the river level. So all I had was 2 small windows to look out right above the water level. The floors 2 and 3 do have not balconies but openings to where there are glass sliding doors where you can open them, and there's a rail there where you can stand there and look out. You can put a chair up to the door, but you can't put a chair out on a balcony because this particular ship did not have any balconies, which I think most of the cruise ships do. The riverboats do have balconies. Now, one complaint is that the inside the ship was really kind of warm everywhere except in my room. Now, I'm a little oversensitive to being in a warm building. Maybe it's just me. But the only place I found in the whole ship where it was really cool enough for me was in my room, because I could control my own thermostat. Now, the food was really good for all of the meals. Can't really complain much about the food, except that the breakfast was exactly the same every day. Now, there was a guy making custom omelets and fried eggs, but other than that, same menu for breakfast every day. Now, one thing about this riverboat, and I don't know, maybe this is typical in other riverboat companies, but beer and wine and soft drinks were included in the meals. On ocean cruise ships, I know you have to pay extra for any kind of alcoholic beverage and for any sodas. Just to get a Coke, you got to pay like maybe $4. But here they had free beer, wine, and sodas for the meals, and that was great. And in addition to that, they also had a happy hour every afternoon where they had a limited list of cocktails that were completely free. And for that happy hour, I could easily have 2 cocktails. I almost always had margaritas. And then you can get free coffee, tea, flavored waters, hot chocolate, mixed nuts, and some sweets like donuts and cookies 24 hours a day. And they gave you unlimited free, well, included in the price of the cruise, bottles of water in your room. Now on cruise ships, if you touch that bottle of water, you open that cap, that's going to cost you a few dollars. But here, unlimited free water in your room. So that was nice. Now one complaint I had is that the elevator doesn't go to the top deck. And that's kind of a problem for me. I didn't go up there a lot, but I would prefer that they have an elevator that goes to the top deck. I don't know if that's typical for riverboats or not. Now, about the cruising scenery, one thing I really like about riverboat trips rather than ocean cruises is that if you look to the left, you look to the right, you've got scenery all the time. On ocean cruises, you look out, most of the time all you can see is water. And when I did the Nile cruise, that was one of the most interesting parts, is to just sit up there and look at all the activity going on along the shores. And there was a lot of it constantly everywhere. But on this trip through Europe, I would say about 80-90% of the time, you look out and all you see is trees. So the cruising scenery wasn't what I was expecting. And on this cruise, we had to go through, I think it was about 35 or 40 locks. And going through each lock would take at least like an hour. So that was a lot of wasted time. But nothing you can do about that. Now, I did videos on all of my tours, and I have made 30 videos about this cruise. And on the ship, they had Starlink Wi-Fi. So I was able to upload a few of my videos while on the boat. Now, my total cost for the cruise is $14,000. And yes, that does sound like a lot, but it includes a lot. The free drinks, the free Wi-Fi, and things like that on cruise ships, for ocean cruises, you always pay extra for. Here it's included in the price of the overall cruise fare ticket. Now, for the $14,000, I got a room to myself. If you have a roommate, it's a little less. Maybe you might consider it less. Let's say it's $12,000 instead of $14,000 per person, but then you're really paying $24,000 for 2 people. Now, the ship was 443 feet long, which is about the same length as an average cruise ship. However, on riverboats, they could only be 4 floors high in order to fit under bridges. And they can not be very wide because some of the locks you could just barely fit on those sides. The ship has 16 rooms and 67 suites. That's a total capacity of 166. Now on this cruise there are 148 people, even though they were fully booked. And the difference is some people like me just had a single in a room, whereas if there were 2 people in every room, then they would be at total capacity of 166. Now, another thing that's different from ocean cruises is that at every port, there was 1 tour that was included. So I didn't pay extra for any tours. Now, the included tours are always just walking tours around town, which is okay because that's what I'd want to do anyway. And the tour guide had a device that they speak into, and then we had devices that we put in our pocket or hang down from our neck with headsets so we could hear what the guide was saying, even in a crowd where there's a lot of noise around. So that was good. Now overall, I really enjoyed the cruise. I'm certainly glad I did it, and I highly recommend it for anyone who likes cruises. If you've never done a riverboat cruise, this is an excellent one to go on. Now there's 3 options. You can go from Amsterdam to Budapest, which is 2 weeks, or you can go from Budapest to Bucharest, which is 1 week, or you can go the whole 3 weeks from Amsterdam to Bucharest, which is what I did, and that's what I recommend you do. Especially if you're flying over from the States, go the whole distance on the cruise. Make that flight worthwhile. And like I said, I enjoyed the river cruise very much. I don't think I'll be doing any more river cruises. I did the Nile and this one all the way across Europe from west to east. I don't know where else I would go on a riverboat cruise. I do plan on doing some more ocean cruises, mostly probably in the Mediterranean, where there's a whole lot of cruises you can do. But I don't know. I really dread the flight over from the States to Europe. So we'll see what the future holds. I hope you've watched at least some of my videos of the tours that I did and other things. Please let me know if you've watched some of them. And would you ever go on a riverboat cruise like this? Please let me know in the comments below. And that will help other people as well that are watching the video and looking at the comments. Good day, folks.